Hello and welcome back to Dream Chasers Adventures in the Future. If you're a longtime listener of the show or just new to the show, we haven't done a one-on-one interview in a while. And I think it's about time we started doing some more for reasons you're about to find out. I'm joined today by musical legend Rerun. Him and I were both recently featured on Leaders of the New School Volume 2, which is a compilation by Toolroom Records and Toolroom Academy. That's basically how we know each other, is through the Toolroom Academy. And we were getting to know each other a little bit here before I hit record, but I'm like, dude, you know what? Let's just get to know each other raw, like right here, let everyone see how it plays out. And I just got to say one thing too before I forget. You gave me a really good idea, which is like, hey, you should do some interviews with other people who are on the compilation, just to help get some more visibility. I'm like, man, the only reason I reached out to you is because you sent me a DM like, oh, this guy's cool. Right, so that's how it all started. But I think we're going to be interviewing some more producers and DJs here on the show in the near future. So anyways, Rerun, great to have you here, man. If you could just kind of tell our listeners how you first discovered Toolroom Records and then how you discovered the Academy.
Okay. Yeah. Great to be here. And yeah, I discovered Toolroom Academy through funny enough, Carly Wilford's Beatport bio. So at the time I was just shopping for music. I'm kind of like an underground DJ, especially at the time. And I was just browsing around and I noticed like one of her tracks really resonated with me. And I was like, who is this girl? Like her music's really dope. I want to check her out. And then I saw in her bio, Toolroom Academy, and I was like, Toolroom, I didn't know they had an academy course like this whole time. And so, yeah, I just looked deeper into it, and I finally pulled the trigger earlier this year. So I graduated the academy course earlier this year, and yeah.
I got so many questions here. I'm trying to just make sure I keep it to one at a time. But going back, so Carly Wilford, she's awesome. I remember the first time I heard any of her music was listening to Toolroom Radio, and I think her song "Sky High" had just came out. She talked about how she thought it was so cool that she was up in an airplane making music, and it's like that's a really cool. It's just a cool moment to hear someone talk about. So, it sounds like you already knew what Toolroom was before you looked at her bio, though. So where did you remember when you first listened to a Toolroom track, or how you first discovered the label?
Yeah, it goes a little far back. I remember when I first started learning how to DJ, I learned from my brother. He showed me everything. He had been DJing like since the 90s, and it's like a passion project of his. But he exposed me to the house scene when before that I was kind of more, me and my friends were really into dubstep and melodic dubstep. And before that, I was really into trance. So it took me a little while to warm up to the house scene. And then, yeah, he got me introduced to Mark Knight's music and a Toolroom's label and all that. And it wasn't until fairly recently did I start listening to the radio show when I started getting more involved. But yeah, I don't have a distinct moment when I discovered Toolroom. I remember just my brother playing Mark Knight's tracks. The one song "I Can't Go for That." I think that's what it's called. But
Okay, yeah, I think that might be featuring Gene Ferris.
yeah, Gene Ferris. And
Yeah,
then Your Love, that's another good one by Mark Knight.
that's the one that reeled me in, about a decade ago, was Your Love.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how you connect the dots, for me. And hopefully I don't repeat myself on a bunch of interviews with other people from the compilation. I'll share my story while I'm here with you on the first interview. But I just remember I was working at a paint shop at the time, and Your Love was in the playlist that I had. And someone at the store I was working with was like, "You listen to Mark Knight?" I'm like, "I guess so." Like I just like this song. And I'll never forget, he was like, Mark Knight is legit. And then that just stuck with me. And then about 3 years later, one of my friends found Toolroom Radio. We retraced the steps the other day. It was episode 380 with Juliet Fox and some other people on that one. And it just came from listening to the show over and over. And my story was, I just heard the advertisements, build your career with the world leading record label. Like, I heard that enough times to be
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So, and now we're here. And that's pretty cool. So you were in TA 36, I saw. So you are kind of fresh out of the gates. I
Hmm.
finished
Yeah.
August. I think August 2022 is when I graduated. So I
Okay.
guess when did you finish, and was your track the one from your class that actually got selected as like the best track?
Yeah, it
Wow.
was.
See, I wasn't that good. I had to put some more work in. But good for you, man. Um, if you guys haven't listened to Rerun's track, and I know some of the other artists might, he might get mad at me now here, but I mean, I'm happy he reached out first because I really, really did like the unknown, which you put together there, and it's a really nice like the spoken words you put into it. It's got some serious meaning to it. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that was intentional. I don't know how much time you put into figuring out those vocals there, but like it's really good stuff, dude. So I guess tell us about the track, how it came together, how you feel about it now.
Yeah, the meaning there, that was intentional. At the same time, it also kind of serendipitous that I happened to find a recording. That recording is from Splice. And so I was just digging around, and then I just love the kind of sultriness in her voice, but at the same time, the spoken words. So it's kind of trippy too, you know? I was almost wondering if it was like a little too trippy or a little too dark for Toolroom sound, because usually they have a very like lively, festive sort of sound. And I was like, but I just decided to go with it because I figured they wanted an authentic song, right? And not me trying to sound like something. And so I just decided to go for it anyway. And honestly, it was kind of surprised that they warmed up to it so much.
One thing that I noticed about your track, the way the compilation is laid out is it is a little bit more tribal to kick things off, and then your
Yeah.
song is kind of like the bridge to like the next chapter. I'm sure there was some thought put into this, but I mean, did you notice that? I think it's you got a little bit of like an upbeat bass line, but to your point, it's got the trippiness and whatever you used for like the lead perk or whatever sound you want to call that, just that it's good
Yeah.
stuff, dude. Tell us some more.
Thanks. Yeah, funny enough, that lead perk is just it's a Foley sound. So on Splice, I just found this pack of Foley sounds, and it's just the sound of a plank of wood falling on cement. And then so I just isolated that and kind of sculpted it a little bit and made it sound kind of otherworldly, I guess you could say.
That's
Uh,
good.
so it's like, yeah, I love using organic sounds because it feels organic, but also you can't really replicate it, because it's just so specifically itself that it becomes unique once you sculpt it to what you plan on using it for in the track. And
And
yeah.
when you were going through the academy, did Pete and whoever was teaching the course with you, did they uncover that you did that with the organic sound, or is that something that you let people know, like, hey, this is what I did, like after I got signed?
Yeah, I guess I just let everyone know afterwards. They kind
That's
of
cool.
they didn't really mention it or anything.
It's just a creative story, dude. So that's awesome that you're looking at things that way. So um this is big moment for most of us here on the compilation. What do you have in mind right now to keep the momentum going? Because I don't know about you, but it's like this is a dream come true, but it's like, wait, we're here now, so like what's the next dream? So what are you doing to keep the momentum going?
Yeah, I got to be thinking about the next step, right? Because it's an ongoing process, really. I think right now, just making the most out of the release and just getting or following excited and just getting everyone involved in what's going on. And yeah, it depends on where you are, I feel, in your career. So right now, I'm just starting out and I've really only been playing like shows in the underground. So just having this much exposure is definitely a new experience for me. But right now, from my perspective, it's all about just letting my following know, hey, stuff is really going on right now. Like, you know, we gotta keep this going as best as possible. And then a lot of it, I feel like, is just collaborating with others, working with others, so that one, we can learn from each other, but also that way we get exposure through each other's audiences, and then we're just working with like-minded people and people that we know that our audience would appreciate, and vice versa for their audience as well. And so that way we could just take all this talent and make the most out of it.
100%. Let's do you just made me think about it from a collaboration perspective. um and I'll agree with you. I mean, like I feel like in many cases I'll say it, like I'm definitely not the most talented one here. I just like to talk. And so like you gotta do whatever you like to do the best. So you helped me realize like this is what we gotta do. Now it's on the note of talking and shout outs in particular. Is there anyone else that you went through the academy with who you think kind of deserves a an endorsement or like a hey, keep an eye out for this guy? Because I know it gets pretty competitive with whoever gets that. You got the one track from your group, but I'm sure there was some other studs in there and people you got to make friends with. So is there anyone you'd like to shout out who's kind of in your circle to put on everyone's radar?
There was a lot of good music. I can't think of the names off the top of my head because I'm kind of a shy guy, so I wasn't the most outspoken one in the group chat or anything. I kept up and all that, but I mostly just kind of kept to myself. I'm still learning how to open up here in this space.
Hey, you
Uh,
broke the ice on the podcast, man. So congratulations.
yeah,
So you got
Vertigo's track is really good, and yeah, we were the two from the class that got signed, and that definitely says a lot. That means a lot too. And yeah, I've been playing their track a lot too.
right.
It's been
Yeah, they're a special group. I actually thought I got you guys confused for a moment because did you notice you guys kind of look a little you could be the third brother?
yeah. I kind of noticed that. I picked that up a little bit.
So Vertigo, I mean, if I haven't reached out to you guys by the time this goes out, I will be. There's a lot of other awesome people on here. I guess I'll give a moment to give a shout out to Lo Seca. I got to meet him face to face about a year ago, and it's been really cool to watch his journey. So Lowe's Bull, as you go by on Facebook, I'm looking forward to getting you here on the show. Um, what do you have in the oven right now that you can talk about? I'm sure you're working on stuff like we said to keep the momentum going. Like, are you thinking similar vibe? Are you going to add anything that we haven't seen yet? Like, what's your thought process right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking something similar. Um, when I started Toolroom Academy, I think the biggest thing that I needed was to kind of like find my artistic identity because I had already been producing for a little while and already knew how to use Ableton. I just wanted to see Toolroom's approach and their philosophy in writing music. And I didn't really know what I was going for at the time, but I think now having my track out there and seeing other people play it and playing it live, it all kind of makes a lot more sense now, the context. And so I have some projects that are unfinished that were kind of like I needed just a bit more direction and where I was trying to go with them. But now I'm thinking I might be going in a slightly different direction, now looking back at everything and how it fits into place. And so, nothing off the top of my head, to be honest, but I do kind of have like a vision for where it's going.
Well, you said something really powerful there, which was also when I look back at my time in the academy, my biggest takeaway, which is they make it very clear that you need to get clear on what your sound is and what your
Yeah.
vibe is, and that's something I think coming in, I would have. It's so fundamentally it makes so much sense until you have somebody actually tell you like, hey, no, this is what you need to do. So I mean, how long did it take you to figure out what your sound was going to be, especially as someone who's you already have a history. I know you're saying you're new, but you definitely have a history in music. So did you know right away what you wanted your sound to be, or tell us about that process?
Yeah, I think just my just me as a person, like my natural personality, it kind of has like a darker side to it. And definitely that's just kind of the stuff that I'm into. I'm into like horror movies and I like the excitement in the thrill, right? Uh I'm not really I see fear as a good thing, as something that we should embrace and approach. And so I kind of wanted that sound to be in my music, but at the same time still palatable for DJs to play and for people to just have fun too. And so I think I'm striking a balance there a little bit. I definitely want to be meaningful in the message that I portray in my music, but at the same time, it's got to be fun house music. So I want to be able to uh, balance the two as well as I can, you know?
100%. And you said something about before we went live, a shuffle club that you I think you either DJ for or you're involved with, but either way, that sounds like a pretty awesome community that you have there. It looks like those guys are backing you here as you step into this next chapter. So, could you tell us about the shuffle club and maybe any special mentions to your friends that you have over there?
Mhm. Yeah, that's my crew. So on Wednesdays in Golden Gate Park, I DJ for a dance collective. They're called SFBADM, which stands for San Francisco Bay Area Dance Movement. And it's just a community of people that love to rave. They love to go clubbing, but they want to level up their dance skills. And so I DJ for them, and in exchange, they teach me how to dance too. I've always wanted to learn how to dance, but I felt a little stiff, right? And so they kind of helped me open that up, you know. And yeah, they're super cool crew of people, and they've been backing me ever since. And I'm just so grateful to have their support, you know.
So you can officially cut shapes now.
I can a little bit. I still need some practice. I've only been like a few months in, but yeah, I can cut some shapes, much
Nice.
more than I ever could.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. Do love to dance, but cutting shapes has always been something I feel like I put on the back burner. So I might have to check out. It's an SFBADM.
Yeah,
Cool. And do they have like Instagram, or where can people go find more info on them?
they do. Yeah, on Instagram. It should be just under SFBA DM, just like that.
Nice. Okay, so this this is a big achievement, big moment. We already kind of talked about that, but do you have like a next goal in mind? Like where is the target moving to for you? Is it another track with Toolroom, or just kind of tell us what's the next victory for Rerun?
Yeah, I definitely want to keep working with Toolroom. They're just such a cool company, you know. They're very, very wholesome. Like I just love their company culture, and I could tell they're just very supportive, and I couldn't have gotten this far without them, you know. So I'm totally grateful for everything that we built together so far, and I want to keep that going. I've been thinking about making a collaboration with Vertigo. They reached out to me in interest of doing something together, so I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
I even learned that they live pretty close from here. I think they said that they live near Sacramento,
Oh
and so that's
wow.
not too far from me.
Okay. Shout out to the
So,
Bay.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And I'm sure children would be happy to see that and supportive of it too. And it's interesting what you said about the how wholesome Toolroom is. That's definitely something that stood out to me, even from I went to the London Calling party in July of last year, and have just gotten to meet different people from the label. And as someone who is a dad and has, I have another baby on the way now, and I look at Mark, and I know he's got at least one son. I think he's got more than one kid, and I just see everyone else in Toolroom. Pete, I know Pete is a dad. Um,
Yeah.
I think I always had this stigma in my head that if you want to be a DJ, you have to be like you have to try and be like this like badass person that doesn't have a family. But I feel like that couldn't be further from the truth. And if anything, Toolroom like helped me see that clearly. Like it's all about friends and family, and the more of that that you have, the further you're going to do, the more successful you're going to be. So, um, I just want to give you a yes, you're right about the wholesome approach that Toolroom has, because I'm sure there's some labels out there that don't go that way. Um, on the note of family, I know you mentioned your brother, and it sounds like
Yeah.
he had played a big role in your life in music. Could you tell us about your relationship with him, and also how he did kind of, if he did bring music into your life, what did that look like?
Yeah, he did. At the time, I was not sure what I was trying to do with my career. I was just like going to college, doing general ed, just trying to figure stuff out, but didn't really have any direction. But at the time, then we started hanging out more. and he started taking me to raves, and we would go to like renegades and underground stuff together, because that's his scene, so he was just
Nice.
bringing me into his
Hey, I
world.
mean that's that I got sucked into electronic music through Life in Color, which was pretty, pretty intense.
Yeah.
So he got you.
And,
So yeah, dubstep vibe, right?
he is more into the house and progressive
Okay, you did.
vibe. And then I have other friends that are into dubstep, and I was into that as well. He's the one that introduced me into the house scene. And yeah, I guess at the time, coming from the dubstep world, house didn't quite click with me immediately until I started seeing the culture and started seeing the people and the vibe and started living there a little bit. Then the context, it all kind of just clicked and it made sense to me. It's definitely one of those things where if you don't see it, then it doesn't make sense to you. But once you spend enough time there and you have a reason, then it's like it's a completely different world. It's a beautiful thing.
Totally. And I'm a huge, huge proponent of people going to raves, especially if they haven't been to one before. So I got to ask you, out of all the raves and parties that you've gone to and shows that you've gone to, we're gonna get to your favorites as a DJ as well. But as an attendee, as a raver, if you had to go with one, like what was the one that you would just be like, man, that was the best one ever?
There's a few. I gotta go with one that's local to us, Audiotistic. Shout out to Audiotistic, because just everyone from the Bay, all my friends and family, we all just congregate there, and it's always a blast. Unfortunately, it got canceled this year, and so we'll have to look out for the next one. But that's definitely, that one feels like home to me. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I just realized the Pokemon you got chilling behind you too. That's
Yeah,
that's pretty on brand for your vibe. So I just realized that Ghastly, Gengar, what's a Haunter, dude. That's really cool.
yeah. Those are my favorites.
Nice. I'm a Super Mario guy, personally, but dude, that's on brand for you. What was I gonna say? As a DJ and dream to play at one day. So what's your favorite gig that you've done, and what's the one that you've got on your bucket list?
Favorite gig that I've done. Let's see. I don't have one off the top of my head. It's really just been kind of like nothing's been enormous or anything. It kind of just feels like a hangout, of just like familiar faces. Uh, where I'd like to play though, shoot, the sky's the limit. Love to play. Now I've had my mind on much bigger stages, right? Because
Sure.
before that wasn't really consideration. I was just like, kind of being maybe a little too humble about where I was at the time, but now that my mind's kind of expanding and kind of like, acclimating to the all the movement that's going on here with our music. I don't know. I'm thinking Ibiza, thinking Ultra, as
There we
big
go.
as I can go, honestly. I'd love
There
to
we go.
play at EDC. Shoot, Burning Man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we were going for here. Glad we got it. Hey, you got to speak it into existence, man, or you at least got to think about it before it becomes a thing. So,
Yeah.
just want to applaud you, Rerun, for all the work that you've done to get here, and honored to call you a friend as we see what's in store for us. We don't know, but we just keep having fun, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Likewise. I
Yeah,
know this is a big achievement for us. This is a big
totally.
step forward.
Totally. So thank you for the idea to kind of do this as a series. We'll see where it goes from here. For those who listen to Dream Chasers before, we're going to start putting out for the leaders of the new school interviews. If we do any, which we probably will do more, they're going to go live on YouTube first, and then you can catch the edited replays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Will be there. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We were joined today by Rerun, DJ and music production master. Rerun, thank you for investing your most valuable time with us here today. Any parting words of wisdom for our listeners?
Thank you so much for having me. And really, you got to believe that's possible in order to make it happen. And that's what I learned in these past few weeks is just that you got to go for it, and you really got to believe in it, and then it really does happen. Life will surprise you.
I love it. Guys, thank you for tuning in to Dream Chasers, Adventures in the Future. We'll catch you in the next episode. Remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.